What if one list could take you from a $200 automatic that punches far above its weight all the way to a $50,000 German masterpiece that rethinks how a watch is even allowed to display time, and every single stop along the way was genuinely worth the money? Today, that is exactly what we are doing. 10 watches, 10 price points. One list that covers the full spectrum of what serious watchmaking looks like in 2026. From accessible entry-level automatics to one of the most mechanically complex dress watches ever produced. Stick around to the end. Number 1 is not the most expensive watch on this list for the reasons you think. It is there because nothing else in the world does what it does the way it does it. Number 10, Orient Mako 2. The Orient Mako 2 opens this list by doing something that most watch brands at this price fail to do. It delivers a complete, honest, automatic dive watch without asking the buyer to accept a single compromise that feels like cost-cutting. The 41.5mm stainless steel case houses a fully in-house automatic movement, the Orient Caliber F6922, a self-winding mechanism produced entirely within Orient's own facilities. In-house automatic movements at this price point are rare. Most competitors at this tier use outsourced calibers. The Mako 2 does not, and that distinction matters for buyers who understand what goes into making a watch movement from the ground up. Water resistance sits at 200 meters with a screw-down crown, unidirectional rotating bezel with 60-minute graduation, and a case construction appropriate to genuine recreational diving. The LumiBrite dial and hands deliver reliable visibility in low-light conditions. The day-date window at 3 o'clock adds everyday practical utility. The Hardlex crystal is a step below sapphire, the single honest concession to the price point, but the movement quality, dive spec, and overall construction present a value equation that embarrasses brands, charging 3 or 4 times more for lesser mechanical credentials. At around $200, the Orient Mako 2 is the entry point that serious watch buyers recommend without hesitation to anyone starting their collection. In-house automatic, genuine dive spec, honest construction, at a price that makes ownership immediate rather than aspirational. Number 9, Citizen Tsuyosa. The Citizen Tsuyosa arrived quietly and immediately became one of the most discussed watches in its price category, because it solved a problem that affordable automatic watches have struggled with for decades: how to make a genuinely beautiful dial without inflating the cost. Tsuyosa means strength in Japanese, and the name is reflected in both the construction and the case design. The 40mm stainless steel case presents a sunburst dial in a blue or green that catches light with a depth and complexity that photographs suggest but the physical watch confirms. The vertical brushing on the case flanks and the polished bevels demonstrate a finishing attention that Citizen's manufacturing scale allows at a price point most brands simply cannot match. Inside runs Citizen's NH8390 automatic movement, reliable, proven, and delivering a 42-hour power reserve in a caliber that Citizen produces at volume with the consistency that volume manufacturing enables. The day-date window functions cleanly. The sapphire crystal, included at this price, protects the dial without the surface imperfection that mineral glass accumulates over daily wear. Water resistance is 100 meters. The bracelet is solid link stainless steel with a fold-over clasp that feels appropriate to the watch's presentation. Nothing about the Tsuyosa feels like it was designed to a budget. It feels like it was designed to be excellent and priced to find the widest possible audience. At around $295, the Citizen Tsuyosa is the automatic dress sport watch that convinces buyers who thought they needed to spend more that they were wrong. Wear it for a week and the conversation about price stops mattering. Number 8, Hamilton Khaki Field Automatic. The Hamilton Khaki Field Automatic carries one of the most legitimate field watch lineages available from any manufacturer at this price, and it delivers that heritage without romanticizing it into something decorative. Hamilton supplied watches to U.S. military personnel across multiple conflicts from the 1940s onward. The Khaki Field is not borrowing military aesthetics from a design archive. It is drawing directly from watches that were issued, worn, and trusted in actual service. That provenance gives the simple black dial and Arabic numeral layout a credibility that fashion military watches assembled from generic design elements simply cannot claim. The 38mm or 42mm case in stainless steel presents the same legibility-first philosophy in a proportionately appropriate format. Matte dial, bold white indices, luminous hands designed for instant readability under stress rather than studied admiration. The canvas or leather strap options maintain the field watch character without costume-like literalism. Inside runs the ETA 2801 or Sellita SW2210 automatic movement, reliable, serviceable, and appropriate to a watch that is designed to be used rather than displayed. Power reserve is 80 hours in the upgraded H10 movement variants, a specification that exceeds most in-class competitors. At around $595, the Hamilton Khaki Field Automatic is the field watch for buyers who want functional heritage over manufactured nostalgia. The military lineage is documented, the design is honest, the movement performs. Very few watches in this price range can make all three claims simultaneously. Number 7. Tissot Gent XL Automatic. The Tissot Gent XL makes the argument that Swiss automatic watchmaking at under $500 does not require aesthetic compromise, and then it wins that argument with a dial that reads as a $1,000 watch at arm's length. The 42mm case is among the most classically proportioned in the Tissot lineup, round clean with polished and brushed surface transitions that are executed with the precision Tissot's manufacturing infrastructure enables at this price. The skeleton or classic dial variants deliver very different visual experiences from the same architectural foundation, the skeleton showing movement finishing that buyers at this price rarely encounter, the classic dial presenting restrained Swiss elegance. Inside runs an ETA or Sellita-based automatic movement with a power reserve of approximately 80 hours in current configurations. The movement is not in-house, but it performs with the reliability that decades of refinement at volume production delivers. The caseback offers a movement visibility across most references. The sapphire crystal is standard. The bracelet construction is solid. The crown is appropriately sized for daily use. Nothing about the Gent XL asks for forgiveness. It presents itself as a complete Swiss automatic watch and delivers exactly that, without the brand premium that pushes similar construction into much higher price territory elsewhere on the Swiss market. At around $475, the Tissot Gent XL Automatic is the Swiss automatic for buyers who want the Geneva finishing standard, reliable movement performance, and a dial that holds its visual quality under close inspection. It is one of Tissot's most honest value propositions in a lineup built on honest value propositions. Number 6. Seiko Presage Classic Araigaki. The Seiko Presage Araigaki is the watch that reminds buyers why Seiko's dial artistry occupies a position that no Swiss manufacturer at this price can contest. And it does so through a technique with roots that predate the wristwatch entirely. Araigaki refers to the traditional Japanese pattern of interlocking waves rendered in the dial through a hand-applied process drawing from centuries of lacquerware craftsmanship. The result is a dial surface of genuine depth, not printed, not embossed, but built through a layered craft process that creates a three-dimensional texture, visible under any light source, and impossible to replicate through industrial methods alone. The 40.5mm stainless steel case presents this dial with the restrained elegance appropriate to Seiko's Presage dress line, polished case surfaces, applied indices, Dauphine hands, and silver. The visual hierarchy places the dial at the center of the experience, and everything else serves that priority without competing. Inside runs the Seiko Caliber 4R35, a reliable automatic with day-date display and a 41-hour power reserve. The movement is not the feature of this watch. The movement is the mechanism that keeps the dial on your wrist accurately. At around $550, the Seiko Presage Araigaki delivers a dial craft that Swiss manufacturers charge 10 to 20 times more to approach. If you understand what hand-applied traditional Japanese craft means inside a wristwatch, this price will feel like an error that Seiko has not yet corrected. Number 5. Longines Flagship. The Longines flagship has been making the same argument since 1957, that Swiss dress watch excellence does not require an extravagant price tag, and 68 years of continuous production suggest the argument has been consistently persuasive. The 38.5mm case is slim, round, and proportionally resolved in a way that takes decades of refinement to achieve. The double-curved sapphire crystal follows the dial's gentle contour, creating a visual depth that flat crystal construction cannot replicate. The fluted bezel adds subtle architectural detail without crossing into decorative excess. The overall result is a watch that disappears into formal contexts with the confident invisibility that only comes from getting every proportion exactly right. Inside runs the Longines caliber L69 a slim automatic movement finished to dress watch standards with a 38-hour power reserve. COSC chronometer certification is available across select references. The movement delivers daily performance appropriate to a watch worn at formal occasions where precision reflects directly on the wearer. The leather strap options, black or brown, suit every formal and business context without adjustment. The clasp is flush and appropriately refined. The overall package is what a Swiss dress watch from a manufacturer with 189 years of cumulative craft looks like when it is executed with integrity and priced without inflation. At around $2,500, the Longines flagship is the Swiss dress watch for buyers who understand what they are wearing and prefer it that way. Heritage, craft, and correct proportions, all verified, none manufactured. Number 4, Shinola Runwell. Shinola occupies a position in the watch market that no other manufacturer holds. An American brand building watches in Detroit with a design language rooted in mid-century American industrial aesthetics, producing pieces that feel entirely unlike anything from Switzerland or Japan. The Runwell is Shinola's signature, a 41mm or 47mm round case in stainless steel with a clean dial layout that reflects the brand's design philosophy of restraint and clarity. The dial text, the hand proportions, and the indices all draw from the graphic conventions of American manufacturing at its mid-20th century peak. The result is a watch that reads as both contemporary and historically rooted without resolving definitively into either category. The movement inside is Swiss, Argonaut or ETA-based depending on configuration, appropriate to a manufacturer assembling watches with American labor and identity while sourcing calibers from established Swiss suppliers. The sapphire crystal is standard. The American-made leather strap options reflect Detroit's manufacturing heritage in material selection and construction. What Shinola offers that no Swiss or Japanese manufacturer can provide is a specific cultural identity, the industrial legacy of American manufacturing translated into an accessible, everyday timepiece. For buyers who connect with that story, no alternative exists. At around $650, the Shinola Runwell is the American watch that earns its place in a collection built primarily on European and Japanese pieces. Not the most technically impressive watch on this list, the most culturally distinctive one on it. Number 3, Zenith. Defy Skyline Skeleton, White Surfer. The Zenith Defy Skyline Skeleton in the White Surfer configuration is the watch that walks directly up to conventional integrated sports watch design, looks at it calmly, and then does something completely different. The open-work dial reveals the El Primero star-shaped rotor oscillating at 36,000 vibrations per hour, the same high-frequency movement that Zenith has produced since 1969 and refined continuously since. At that frequency, the rotor sweeps visibly through the dial aperture at a pace that makes conventional automatic rotors appear dormant. The White Surfer colorway applies white lacquer accents to the skeletonized architecture, creating a dial that reads as clean and modern rather than mechanically dense, an achievement in open-work design that most skeleton dials at this price do not manage. The 41mm stainless steel case with integrated bracelet executes the geometric sports watch format with originality that separates it from the integrated bracelet landscape. The finishing alternates polished and brushed surfaces in a pattern that complements the dial's complexity. The pushers are smooth. The clasp is flush. The construction quality reflects a manufacturer with genuine movement engineering identity behind it. The caliber 3620 SK delivers a 60-hour power reserve and accuracy within 2+2 seconds per day. The El Primero is not a generic movement dressed in Zenith branding. It is a proprietary caliber with a documented 50-year development history, housed inside a watch designed to show rather than conceal it. At around $8,000, The DeFi Skyline Skeleton White Surfer is the open-worked integrated sports watch for buyers who want visible mechanical complexity with a specific developed watchmaking identity behind it. Character and engineering credibility at a price the dial quality makes easy to justify. Number 2. Breitling Super Ocean Automatic 44. The Breitling Super Ocean Automatic 44 is the professional dive watch from a manufacturer that built its reputation on instruments for people whose lives depend on their equipment working correctly, and that heritage is not decorative, it is structural. Breitling has supplied timing instruments to aviation and diving professionals since the 1930s. The Super Ocean line carries that operational identity into a 44mm case with 300-meter water resistance, a unidirectional rotating ceramic bezel, and a construction standard that reflects the brand's commitment to professional tool watch integrity. The screw-down crown locks completely. The bracelet extension accommodates a wetsuit. The helium escape valve is standard. These are not specifications assembled to justify a price. They are engineering decisions made because the watch was designed to be used at depth. The Breitling Caliber B20, a movement produced in collaboration with Tudor's movement division and finished in-house, delivers a 70-hour power reserve with the reliability appropriate to a professional dive instrument. The finishing on the case is mature and precise, not the most ornate in the Breitling catalog, but appropriate to a watch whose identity is functional excellence over decorative ambition. The Super Ocean 44 is available with the Ocean Classic bracelet or rubber strap in colorways that range from operationally restrained to visually assertive. Each variant maintains the same technical specification beneath its surface presentation. At around $4,500, the Breitling Super Ocean Automatic 44 is the professional dive watch for buyers who want Swiss brand heritage, genuine technical credentials, and a manufacturer with real operational history behind the design. It does not borrow its identity from military procurement records. It earned that identity across decades of professional use. Number 1. A. Lange and Söhne. Zeitwerk date, pink gold. The Zeitwerk displays hours and minutes through jumping numerals, large, immediately legible digital-style figures that leap instantaneously to the next value at the exact moment of each minute's completion. Not the gradual advance of a conventional minute hand, not the approximation of a jumping hour. A complete, simultaneous, instantaneous jump, hours and minutes changing in the same mechanical moment. The precision required to make a fully mechanical movement execute this display consistently across decades of service intervals against the resistance of the spring tension required to hold the numerals stable between jumps represents a watchmaking achievement that the entire Swiss industry studied when the Zeitwerk was unveiled. The date complication adds a further layer of mechanical complexity, a jumping date display consistent with the Zeitwerk's instantaneous display philosophy. The date does not crawl, it jumps. At midnight precisely, with the same mechanical certainty as every minute change throughout the day, the 41.9-meter pink gold case is A. Lange & Söhne's proprietary alloy, richer in tone than standard rose gold, warmer and more distinctive at every light angle. The case finishing applies the German watchmaking tradition of hand beveling and polishing to every edge and surface transition, a process that requires weeks of artisan time per case and produces results that justify examination under magnification. The movement visible through the caseback is finished to the same standard. Black polished steel, hand-engraved balance cock, three-quarter plate in German silver. Every component visible to the eye is finished as though it might be examined by someone who knows exactly what they are looking at. At around $50,000, the A. Lange & Söhne Zeitwerk, date in pink gold, is not the most expensive watch in the world. It is not even the most expensive Lange. What it is without qualification, without the softening of comparative language, is one of the most mechanically original, most finely finished, and most deeply considered watches in production today. The jumping numeral display solves a horological problem that no one else has solved in a fully mechanical movement with this level of finishing consistency. The case construction applies a handcraft standard that the German tradition demands and the price barely covers. The movement finishing reveals an artisanal commitment that the watch industry's most expensive brands aspire to and occasionally match.